Happy Friday, television family. It is the 26th day of September 2025. I am Dan Kuntz. I, for one, can't wait for this week to be over. It's been a crazy one indeed. Look behind me. That is, of course, the smoke plume from the lower Sugarloaf fire. As predicted, that strong cold front came barreling in yesterday, especially in the afternoon. Wind out of the northwest blowing to the southeast. Took those fires, and with the bone dry conditions, relative humidity about 18%, fires just took right off, found some fresh fuel. It was probably a fairly sleepless night for you folks in the foothills immediately to the north of Kashmir, Nahum Canyon, for instance. Of course, level 3 evacuation now. It's worked its way down to the Sunny Slope area. A lot of homes in the fire's path. Good news, the winds will be dying down. They already are. We only have a wind about northwest at about 7 miles an hour right now in the Wenatchee Valley. That's the good news. So the winds, the cold front that came in yesterday is already exiting the area. By mid-morning, it'll be gone. Good news there. Bad news, it's going to be replaced gradually throughout the course of the day by another ridge of high pressure. The difference between the dome that we had earlier in the week that gave us that very, very dirty air, hazardous air, the difference is this is a flat ridge of high pressure, but it still could very well trap the smoke right down here in the Wenatchee Valley because the fires are, of course, very active now. So as far as smoke is concerned, we're not out of the woods yet. The only area with an AQI above 150, which is unhealthy, is Kashmir here at 154. Kashmir, of course, is in the line of fire. It's also pretty dirty air out in the basin. George and Moses Lake have unhealthy for sensitive groups there. So again, the air quality could very well deteriorate. Again, as the day progresses, it depends on how quickly this flat ridge of high pressure gets set up over our area. Obviously, we will be talking a lot about that when we get to news. The Travis Decker saga has come to an end. That'll be our top story. Goodness for that. It's Friday, lots of sports. Mariners won, Seahawks won, lots of games to be had. We have football tonight, we hope, at Lee Bofto Field of the Apple Bowl as the Panthers finally play their first home game of the year. They've spent a lot of time on the bus. They're probably sick and tired of that. And live in this studio for the 79th consecutive year, the Wenatchee Valley Symphony Orchestra is back. Their opening performance is tomorrow night. They'll be playing the music of Tchaikovsky. Nicholas Collie, my good buddy, the musical director and the conductor of the Wenatchee Valley Symphony Orchestra, will be here live in this studio in the bottom half of the hour. Don't miss that conversation and get your tickets, folks. You're going to like it. All right, let's go. Tour time. I kind of don't really want to do this, but we have to. There you go. There is the lower Sugarloaf fire. You can see it got right to the very, you can see the burn scar at the very, very top of Birch Mountain. Yeah, we'll go through all the evacuation levels. But again, probably an extraordinarily nerve-wracking night for those folks. Ironically enough, you see the smoke, but the AQI in Aniat is only 58. A lot of this smoke that you see is actually pretty high up in the atmosphere, which is why we're at 66. In the Wenatchee Valley on the AQI scale. Again, Kashmir, though, is at 154. That's a pretty sobering shot right there. Camera number 2. We're back the other way. That is the top of Blag Mountain looking towards the Labor Mountain fire. I'm pretty sure that, of course, took off as well. Jumped over Blewett Pass. Blewett Pass is still closed. It's been closed this entire week. It's not going to be reopened anytime in the near future, although it is a natural fire break. But it was a very dramatic afternoon. Everybody was talking about it out and about. Those two huge fires, you just couldn't miss them. All you had to do was step outside. Look to the north, you saw the plumes from the lower Sugarloaf, and you look to the west and you saw the Labor Mountain plume come up over Mission Ridge. Nerve-wracking indeed. Camera number 3. Billy Goat checks in. A few clouds up there right now. Air quality is okay up in that area. It was pretty bad in Brewster yesterday. It all cleared out. In fact, it looks like it's a fairly pleasant morning up way up on top of Billy Goat Mountain, about 7,000 feet above sea level. That's where we can see all that real estate. And our 4th camera to wrap up our tour. Lake Wenatchee chimes in. Hello, Lake Wenatchee. A couple of clouds there and some smoke plumes as well. Again, that upper level trough, which brought in all that cold and windy conditions through the region. The big story was not only the wind, but the bone dry. The relative humidity was way down there. It is already transitioning out of here, but we're still not out of the woods yet as far as winds in the upper elevations. I need to stress that. They still have some windy conditions where the fires are. There's no real wind down here in the valley, but where the fires are burning, both the Labor Mountain and the Lower Sugarloaf fire, they still have winds up there, and they will for a little while yet this morning. Let's get right to it. From the National Weather Service, here's your forecast. Again, we could see some smoke and some haze by mid to late afternoon. We're all going to have to just play it by ear. The winds will gradually die down. There are a few clouds out there. They will also exit the area. We'll get up to about 73 degrees. Smoke returning tonight, pretty good chance of that, because by the time the sun goes down, that flat ridge of high pressure I've been talking about will be here, so there won't be any place for the smoke to go. We'll see what happens. 53 for the overnight low. Hazy and smoky, a distinct possibility tomorrow. No wind. High of about 77 degrees. Light wind on Sunday. So we're not out of the woods with smoke yet, folks. We could happen again this afternoon. It could happen Saturday. It could happen Sunday. And then finally, rain in the forecast. Whew, bring it on. 50% chance of rain Monday, 40% chance of rain Tuesday. There's a 50% chance of rain, by the way, Monday night, which isn't actually in your forecast. So we're going to have hit and miss showers, unsettled and cooler conditions next week. I wish that forecast for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday could be forwarded about 72 hours. I don't have that kind of power. Mother Nature is in charge. Well, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we have some serious news, because that's what news normally is. In 2 minutes, you're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCWLIFE channel.
There's no place like home, because home is where we're totally comfortable. It's where we can be ourselves and let our guards down. It's where we make memories, and we're always imagining new ways to keep it totally comfortable. Carrier, total comfort, totally happy.
Call Alpine Air Heating and Cooling today. Your comfort is their priority.
Hi, I'm Amanda Walden with A. Walden Insurance Group. Medicare can be overwhelming, but you don't have to figure it out alone. I've been helping people understand their Medicare options for over a decade. Medicare isn't a one-size-fits-all. I'll help you understand your coverage options so you can feel confident in your decisions. Let's find the right Medicare plan for you. Call me today or come and see me at my office located on South Chelan Avenue in Wenatchee between the YMCA and the Social Security office. I look forward to meeting you soon.
Tour Moses Lake just a gas tank away. With its abundance of outdoor activities, Moses Lake is a great place to visit. From fishing and boating to exploring the city's attractions, there is no shortage of things to do. Whether you're enjoying any one of the variety of restaurants with the family or an adventure-filled day with friends, Moses Lake has something for everyone. TourMosesLake.com and start your adventure today.
How you doing this morning? I'm Peter Kay, and this is the Go Home Morning Run.
I moved to Wenatchee last year, no car, and Link Transit saved me the first day I was here. If I didn't have the link, I would have had to walk blocks and blocks to get to work. So I used it for sightseeing, used it to get groceries. I'm thinking, do I need a car? I don't think I do. I don't know why you wouldn't ride the bus. I'm Peter Nyblum, and Link is how I roll.
.57 degrees outside of our studios. Air quality is moderate to good in the Wenatchee Valley, except Cashmere, which has got some pretty dirty air. And as you can see behind me, we're going to keep a very close eye on the area fires. But our first story is, as you probably know, Travis Caleb Decker, the Wenatchee man accused of murdering his 3 young daughters nearly 4 months ago, is dead. Chelan County Sheriff Mike Morrison gave the news at a 4 p.m. press conference Thursday at the Chelan County Courthouse. Decker has been sought since June 2nd. That's when the bodies of his children, Peyton, Evelyn, and Olivia, were found in a National Forest campsite near Leavenworth. Morrison confirming yesterday that the human remains that were found on September 18th on Grindstone Mountain, not far from the crime scene, were those of Travis Decker.
We're coming full circle. We look at about 4 months ago, we were just sitting here breaking the news about this tragic situation of the deaths of Peyton, Evelyn, and Olivia. And today I stand before you again with news that we have received our DNA results back from the Washington State Patrol's crime lab. from the items that were recovered last week. That would be the clothing and also the human remains. We are glad to say that those remains do come back as a positive match for Travis Decker. It's a big day for Chelan County Sheriff's Office, all of our federal partners, that we can finally bring a close to this dark chapter of Chelan County. Certainly pay respects to the deaths of Peyton, Evelyn, and Olivia. We wanted to show honor to them, let them know that we never forgot about them. We haven't forgot about their family. To Whitney, we apologize that it's taken this long to get the closeness and the closure that we are looking for in this case, but I hope that you can rest easier at night knowing that Travis is accounted for. He is deceased. Our DNA results confirm that, and this will bring a close to our case.
The first time I spoke before this podium, I promised you that we would not stop until we found the fugitive. My job and my team's job is to find the fugitives using the Rapid Advancing Manhunt Program, which we did, along with the help from the partners that was mentioned from the sheriff already. There's numerous to mention, if I'm not going to go over the list again, but without the community, which is what this truly is about, law enforcement community, family community, community members that are out here present. Without all of you, we could not have done this. This is a team, truly team, family endeavor. That's why this was successful, so remember that.
Sheriff, do you think you've gotten any closer, or will you ever get close to a reason why Mr. Decker might have done this?
No, I don't think we'll ever have a true reason. I don't think it really matters what his reasoning was. In our view, and based off the evidence we have, he committed murder. It's inexcusable, it's inexplainable, and we would have liked to have, of course, heard his thought process and what he was thinking at the time, but I don't think anything he said would have justified it. The bottom line is, our community is now down 3 young girls that would have been our bright future. They're not here. I know several members of our agencies had their kids interacting with them on sporting events and other personal events, so it's a loss for us personally too. We recognize that those girls are gone for their family. They're not going to be able to enjoy birthdays, other memories, first dances, first sporting events, even first jobs. So I certainly feel for them. I understand that is a huge loss. And I certainly will be sending my prayers towards them, hoping that they can find some kind of closure on this.
Let's move on to the Lower Sugarloaf fire, which is now the focus of a statewide mobilization of fire responders. Strong winds pushed it south Thursday, just as predicted. In fact, it's blowing right towards the Wenatchee Valley and the perimeter of Wenatchee itself. White plumes from rapid torching in the Lower Sugarloaf fire. A little over 31,000 acres and growing. It merged in the skies over Wenatchee. It was very dramatic yesterday afternoon. Yeah, that smoke merged with the smoke from the 17,181 acre Labor Mountain fire to the south. Level 2 get ready evacuation notices were issued at about 10 o'clock last night to areas of Upper Sunny Slope. The zone includes West Eagle Rock from Lupine Lane, April Drive from Rue Jolie, Adele Lane, Anna Lane, Crestview from Rue Jolie, and Knowles Road from Knowles Heights Lane. And level 3 go now area evacuation orders, which were issued earlier, includes all the residents of Water Canyon and Nahom Canyon and some residents of Birch Mountain. We'll keep a close eye on this, and of course evacuation levels can change dramatically. Stay close to your local outlets. An employee at an East Wenatchee Logistics and Transport office is charged with theft, forgery, and related charges for allegedly tampering with a payroll system to provide himself an extra $47,000 over the course of about 6 months. Last September, East Wenatchee Police began investigating Stephen C. Layton, 37 years old, of Wenatchee, for allegedly accessing a third-party money transfer service that his employer used to cover employee expenses. Between March and September of last year, Layton is accused of wiring the money to himself from company accounts in about 65 transactions. Police say he was fired from the business before the crime was reported. Douglas County prosecutors charged Layton by summons in July with first-degree theft, identity theft, and forgery. He was arraigned last week. He's scheduled for trial starting in November. He remains jailed on a $10,000 bond. A Wenatchee man's been in jail since 2023 on charges of possessing child pornography, has pled guilty to that crime. 42-year-old Brandon David Eby pled guilty Wednesday in Chelan County Superior Court to 10 counts of possessing sexually explicit depictions of minors. Wenatchee police detectives arrested E.B. in February of 2023 after a witness discovered suspicious video downloads to his personal computer. He's been held since then on a $150,000 bond. E.B. could have faced an exceptional sentence for multiple offenses, but prosecutors said as part of his plea agreement, they'll seek only to imprison him for the standard range of 6.5 to 8.5 years. Plus, he'll be required to take psychological treatment, and he'll have to register as a sex offender. He's due to be sentenced on October 30th. And Lighthouse Christian Ministries Executive Director Sean Arrington has announced that he will be stepping away from the local homeless organization after 16 years of service. Arrington says that his exit has been planned for quite some time, although he wouldn't share his new job that he's going to be taking. Arrington did say that he will be taking a few months off before starting his new job in December. His replacement will be 34-year-old Colin Olivier, who has been training to take over Arrington's position for the last month or so. Arrington's last day at the Lighthouse will be on September 30th, next Tuesday. And that's the news on what's been an exceptionally busy news week. One more newscast before we can call it a weekend, but we might not have a weekend the way things are shaping up. 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 10 o'clock tonight. Jefferson Robbins, our news director, will be in the anchor chair. Grant has the day off. 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 10 o'clock tonight on television. Of course, it'll be up and running on our homepage, NCWLIFE.com, and our news will be posted on our YouTube page right around 5 o'clock. If you are an unplugger, if you got Roku, Apple TV, or the Amazon Fire Stick, you're good to go. We're on that as well. And if you have a news tip, send us an email, news@ncwlife.com. Sports, lots of it is next. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
Fibercrete fireproof safety rooms can be the difference between life and death for you and your family. Typical fireproof safety rooms are 8x8 Fibercrete panels providing a solid sanctuary. Fibercrete safety rooms can be above ground, buried underground, or built within new home construction. Best of all, a safety room by Fibercrete is very affordable. Call 360-770-2088. You owe it to your family to find out more about Fibercrete safety rooms.
Craving fresh Asian comfort food? Steam Panda is Wenatchee's popular family-friendly Asian restaurant. They focus on providing guests with delicious, healthy, fresh, and natural dishes for an affordable price. It's time to enjoy one of their many popular house-made soup dumplings, ramen noodles, or pho dishes. And make sure to ask about their lunch and chef specials on sushi rolls. Steam Panda's Hawaiian poke bowl and salads are excellent with your favorite boba tea. Stop by or order online at Steam Panda today.
Caught in a conflict? Family, workplace, neighbor, business, housing disputes? Wenatchee Valley Dispute Resolution Center provides mediation services, a cost-effective and efficient way to provide a written resolution to disputes and issues. Plus, we offer mediation training and community education on conflict resolution and communication skills. Contact us to learn more.
Your favorite local channel is now available for free on your smart TV and connected streaming devices. Watch live programming and catch up with the latest shows on demand. See the local stories that matter to you. NCW Life, now on Roku, Fire TV, and Apple TV.
Sports at 19 minutes after the hour. Eugenio Suarez matched his career high with his 49th homer, and that led the American League West champion Mariners. I like saying that. They beat the Rockies 6-2 last night for their 17th win in 18 games, a day after clinching their first division title since 2001. The Mariners found out before the first pitch that they will have a first-round bye and home field advantage in the American League Division Series because Cleveland lost to Detroit earlier in the day.
Fly ball, left field, let it fly, Gino! Number 49 to match a career best.
Go to tell you what, we've been seeing some big home runs from Gino of late, even gone back to that road trip and just wearing out that breaking ball, another home run into that left field bullpen off of that breaking ball inside the strike zone.
Big chopper up the middle. A flip. Throw on to first. Not in time. Naylor scores. 3-0 Mariners. Cracked. Into center field. Canzone coming home. Garver to the plate. Randy Arozarena brings home 2 more.
I talked about Gino Suarez early on in this inning, finding something to get in that good groove. We've been struggling. Randy Arozarena trying to knock the dust off it as well. Big line drive double into left field last night. Nearly went deep to right field, and this time staying up the middle.
On the ground, left field, base hit. Naylor scores. Eugenio Suarez makes it 6-0 Seattle in the 5th inning.
And that's going to drop for a base hit. And coming home is Blaine Krim with the Rockies' first run of the night. His last time up. And he's got a single here. And Karros is going to be sent home with the Rockies' second run.
To center field. Robles is there. And the Mariners win. They are rolling. They've won 7 in a row. And the Seattle Mariners have won 17 of their last 18 games. Man, what a run by the M's.
Yeah, second consecutive sweep. That kind of gets lost in everything that's happened in this series against the Colorado Rockies here as we're wrapping up this season. But, man, what a series it has been. Clinch that playoff spot, clinch the American League West Championship. You get that today. We found out this afternoon. You get that bye past the wild card rounds, and all facets of this roster rolling. Starting pitching's been great. Offense, everything clicking here for the Seattle Mariners.
Yeah, everything's clicking, and now the Mariners close out the regular season with 3 at home against the Dodgers. Both teams have clinched their divisions. Both teams have identical records. They're both 90 and 69. George Kirby, by the way, will start for Seattle tonight. First pitch on Root Sports, set for 6:40. Well, the Mariners still have an outside shot at the best record in the American League. Of course, that would give them home field advantage through the American League Championship Series, but they're not there yet. In fact, Toronto holds the tiebreaker, so if the M's and the Blue Jays finish with the same record, and it's the best record of the American League, Toronto would get the #1 seed. Well, the Seahawks let a 14-3 halftime lead slip away late in the game, but Jason Myers nailed a 52-yard field goal as time expired, and that gave Seattle a 23-20 win over the Cardinals last night. The Seahawks gave up 17 straight points, including an Arizona touchdown that tied the score with 28 seconds remaining.
4-man rush. Catch is made. Can he get to the end zone? Yes. Amari DiMarcado. From 52, the kick wobbles, but makes it through. And the Seahawks win it at the gun.
Oh man, it's a great win. Really, I'm just really proud of our team and how hard we're playing, how we're sticking together, the positivity, the fight. Just a really great win. I mean, it's a short week. You're on the road. Arizona played a good game.
They did, but the Hawks won. The Hawks are, by the way, 11-1-1 in Arizona. Over the last 13 seasons, they love playing down there. Seattle will host Tampa Bay 1 week from Sunday. College football, the Washington Huskies have won 22 consecutive games at Husky Stadium, but they got a tall task ahead of them. Boy, that place will be rocking. 12:30 kickoff, nationally televised on CBS as the defending national champion and #1 ranked Ohio State Buckeyes come to the Emerald City. Eastern's got a tall task. They're going to hit the road to hit Montana State, and you saw the rest of the schedule there. In the CSAC yesterday, Kashmir rolled over Wahluke at home, 63-0. Connell took care of business over College Place. The games today, Quincy at Wapato, that's a non-leaguer. Royal will be at Zilla, and the Natchez Valley will take on Keona Benton tomorrow at 1 o'clock. The Eastmont Wildcats on the road again. They got the Sunnyside Grizzlies tonight down in Sunnyside. Eastmont won last year's tilt by a point. They blocked a Sunnyside extra point late in the game. Coach Jay Foster says the Wildcats need to contain Sunnyside's stud quarterback.
the quarterback is a really, really tough kid. I mean, we watched on film where there were literally a dozen hits where we were saying, if that's Peyton, I'm not sure he's getting up. You know, the kid's bigger than Peyton, obviously, but boy, he takes some shots, gets right back up, and goes and does it again. And that's Sunnyside. I mean, they've always been just tough kids, you know, and they're going to come at you no matter what. So still that group. You know, the quarterback, you can tell he's young. He's not processing things right now at the speed that you want your quarterback to do. You know, it reminds me of Peyton last year. You know, when there's things there and you want him to pull the trigger and he doesn't, you know, and holds on to the ball a little too long. I just hope he waits another week before he figures it out, that's all.
The game we have tonight, by the way, has the Wenatchee Panthers finally playing their first home game of the year, defending league champ Moses Lake. And their high-flying passing offense visits Lee-Bofto Field at the Apple Bowl. Coach Taylor Mitchell told our Eric Granstrom the key to upsetting the Mavericks is to keep their offense off the field.
Yeah, I think you got to mix things up a little bit, try to disguise coverages. Hopefully our pass rush can get after him a bit as well. And also I think limiting possessions. I think that's key in really all three phases.
Best defense is a good offense.
Yeah, absolutely. How can we slow the game down? I mean, we had the most competitive game against Moses Lake out of anybody in our league last year. And I think a big key to that was we put up points. I think it was 24-14, I think, heading into halftime last year against them. So offensively, we were able to move the ball, sustain some drives, put some points up. And, you know, we got to do that even at a larger magnitude this year with how well he's playing. So offensively, control the clock, limit possessions for them, and see what we can do.
Grant Olson and Paul Collard will have the call with the pregame at 6:30, kickoff at 7 right here on the NCWLIFE channel. If smoke plays a role in this, they will move the game to Moses Lake, but that decision won't be made for a while. Caribou Trail League football this weekend. Clarkston will be at OMAC at 7 o'clock tonight. Manson will host Cascade at 7 o'clock, and Liberty Bell welcomes Chelan up in Winthrop this weekend. CWAC football, full slate of games tonight, all 7 o'clock kickoffs. East Valley is at Ephrata. Wapato welcomes Quincy. Toppenish is at Ellensburg. Grandview travels to Prosser. Sealer will be at Othello, who, by the way, once again, is really good. Central Washington B football, the smaller schools. Full slate of games. Early kickoff for Okanagan and Riverview. That's a long bus ride. Waterville Mansfield plays host to Bridgeport. Again, Cascade is at Manson. Brewster at Tenasket. Chelan at Liberty Bell. You know about these games already. Orville will be at Pateris, and a 7 o'clock kickoff. Maybe, again, air quality related. Antioch is scheduled to host Moses Lake Christian at 7 o'clock. We shall see. Prep soccer from last night. Thursdays are usually busy. Yesterday, no exception. Eastmont on the road beat Davis 5-0. Moses Lake and Ephrata non-league game, so they don't play overtime. What's the point? A 0-0 tie. Quincy knocked off Cascade. Cashmere all over Keona Benton. Pateris took care of OMAC. Brewster just got by Bridgeport. Manson over Okanagan. That's the games that were played. This is the schedule for Saturday. If you like soccer, go get them. Again, stay close to your social media because some of these games, because of smoke, may be moved or delayed, so that's not a solid schedule because of the wildfires. Volleyball, another full day yesterday. Wenatchee rolls right along. They swept Eisenhower. Look at all the sweeps. Eastmont was able to win a set against West Valley, but they lost 3-1, and all the rest, as you see, all the way down the line, sweeps across the board. Probably didn't take very long to play any of those matches. And the volleyball schedule for the weekend looks something like this. Pretty light. Tenascet's at Manson tonight. Garden City Academy will take on Thorpe at 6 o'clock tomorrow. Bridgeport is at Oroville. Well, the Wenatchee Wild have their home opener tomorrow night against the Everett Silver Tips. Everett won on their home ice last Saturday. It was a shootout over the Wild. The voice of the Wild, Austin Drade, told me this week the team and the staff are ready for a big crowd.
I've noticed the phone calls have definitely ticked up the last week or two, but we got a lot going on this week, and there's a lot of reason to come out to the Wolves Den on Saturday night. We'll do our magnet schedule giveaway like we usually do. Town Toyota's jumped in with with 1,000 magnet schedules and full sponsorship of the night as they usually do. But we've also got our first Kids in Free night. HR Spinner is paid for 100 free kids tickets so we can help fill things up a little bit faster. We're also going to be giving away 50 Wild jerseys at the game, so you can go out to the game, sign up early, and hopefully bring some swag home from your first game of the season. And the big one is our $50,000 shop that we partnered with Town Toyota on. So you'll need to sign up at our guest services table when you come in the door early on in the night, before the first media timeout, 14, 13, 12 minutes left in the first period. Get down there, sign up. We'll draw a potential winner and bring you on the ice during the first intermission to shoot for $50,000.
That's pretty cool. For tickets, by the way, and you want to get them in advance to avoid the lines, head to the Wenatchee Wild's website. You can listen to the game, by the way, on 560 KBQ, and those are just some of the games that people are playing on this Friday. It is Johnny Appleseed Day. We'll get to that in just a little bit. It's National Compliance Officer Day. I always thought I'd be good at that. It's National Dumpling Day. It's National Situational Awareness Day. I try to practice that every day. I oftentimes fail. Today, though, we're going to celebrate the pancake. And believe it or not, National Pancake Day was invented by the same guys who came up with National Talk Like a Pirate Day, the one obscure holiday I despise. They said, hey, National Talk Like a Pirate Day was fun, so let's create National Lumberjack Day. And the idea behind these guys is that they would dress up like the lumberjacks and eat pancakes all day. But as the day went along for the first annual Lumberjack Day, the novelty of dressing and pretending to be a lumberjack kind of just wore off, but the pleasure of eating pancakes all day didn't. So it used to be Lumberjack Day, now it's National Pancake Day. Just looking at that gives me a Pavlovian reaction. Pancakes, butter, maple syrup, raspberries, blueberries, strawberry pancakes, banana pancakes. Pancakes. That's a weekend meal, Sunday meal. 32 minutes after the hour. Today in history at the studios of WBBM-TV, Chicago, Illinois, September 26, 1960, the very first television debate takes place between the presidential candidates. Richard Nixon for the Republicans, John Kennedy for the Democrats. Kennedy had been campaigning in California that whole week in a convertible. He was tanned and healthy and rested. Nixon had been in a car accident, hurt his knee. He was not tanned, rested, and ready. He also refused makeup, and Nixon was one of those guys who had to shave like twice a day. This is black and white, bright lights, and during the course of the debate, Nixon started to sweat because studio lights are hot. His gray suit faded into the backdrop, which matched his skin tone. People listening on the radio thought Nixon won. People watching on television thought Kennedy won. As soon as the debate was over, Nixon's mom called him and said, "Are you sick?" He learned his lesson, by the way, with the next debate. 56 years ago today, the very last recorded album by the Beatles, Abbey Road, hits record stores. Of course, it wasn't the last Beatles album to be released. Let It Be would come out in the spring of 1970, but of course, Let It Be was recorded before Abbey Road, 56 years ago today. On this date, 42 years ago today, Stanislav Petrov saved the planet. This was just a few weeks after the Soviets shot down Korean Airlines Flight 007, so there was a lot of tension between the East and the West. Stanislav Petrov was the duty officer at the command center for the early warning nuclear system. When all of a sudden the system said, hey, there's a missile that's been launched from the United States. And then they said there's 5 more missiles coming our way. Petrov said, I don't think that's right. An investigation later confirmed that the Soviet satellite warning system, in fact, had malfunctioned. But Stanislav Petrov decided not to launch a large-scale nuclear counterstrike, and his theory was simple. He said, if the U.S. is going to strike us first, it would be a massive amount of nuclear missiles. 5 missiles shot at an irregular time didn't quite seem to make sense to him. A lot of people call this guy maybe saved the world. Oh, and by the way, we didn't find out about this until years and years later, like 15 years after this actual incident is when it became public. And on that very same day, 42 years ago today, Australia too wins the America's Cup, ending the 25-year, well, it was 132-year domination. It was the 25th America's Cup, the previous 24 America's Cup, all won by the Americans. That came to an end when Australia won it 42 years ago today. It was huge back then. Now nobody seems to even care. Among them, me. Birthdays. Got 3 heavenly birthdays. I mentioned it's Johnny Appleseed Day. John Chapman, born in the state in 1774, of course, introduced apple trees. Pennsylvania, Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, Ontario, West Virginia. He actually became a well-known American legend while he was still alive. That usually didn't happen back in the early 1800s. Johnny Chapman, Johnny Appleseed, born in the state in 1774. It's funny, I just mentioned about a conditioned Pavlovian reflex to pancakes. That's the guy. Ivan Pavlov, the psychologist and physician, won a Nobel Prize under the theory of conditioned reflex, and it certainly showed on me. Born 100 years ago today, the legendary Marty Robbins. Thank goodness we still have the music. Died of congestive heart failure at the age of 57 in 1982, but the music lives on, and he wrote almost all his own material, so he gets extra credit for that. And who is the highest earning woman athlete of all time? You combine the money that she actually won by playing tennis, endorsements, all that other stuff. It's Serena Williams. She is 43 years old, 23 Grand Slam singles titles. Not bad. Happy 43rd to Serena. For Heat and Air, call Alpine Air. For Heat and Air, call Alpine Air. They are our platinum sponsors. The 79th season of the Wenatchee Valley Symphony Orchestra begins tomorrow night at the Numerica Performing Arts Center. The conductor and the musical director, Nick Kali, will be joining me when we come back. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCWLIFE channel.
Hand off to Zielinski around the right side. Got away from one man, got away from two. High School Sports is back this fall on the NCWLIFE channel. Watch Eastmont, Wenatchee, and Cashmere games right here. Sponsored in part by our platinum supporter, Alpine Air Heating and Cooling, Biosports Physical Therapy, Coldwell Banker Cascade Real Estate, Sangster Motors, Save Mart, and Valley Tractor. Watch high school sports all fall right here on your local TV station, the NCWLIFE channel.
After I got my new heat pump, my neighbor Greg was all like, I wish I could have one of those, but I don't have any ducts. So I just figured we'd share mine.
What is that?
Oh, hey neighbor.
It's like we're office buddies.
Chelam PUD rebates make upgrading to a ductless heat pump affordable. That way your neighbor can stay...
Hello?
Well, your neighbor.
It's the NCWLIFE Community Calendar, a presentation of the Wenatchee Valley Dispute Resolution Center. Mountain View Women's Health, a free-of-charge healthcare service for women in the Valley, presents Taste and See, Saturday, September 27th at the Union Hill Cider Company in East Wenatchee. Live music, a dinner provided by Sweetwood Barbecue, games galore, and a one-of-a-kind auction. All the proceeds goes to support Mountain View Women's Health. For tickets, go to the website on your screen.
Hey, welcome back to Save Mart. What can we help you find today?
We're looking for a mattress.
Oh, right this way. We got a large selection. We have this pillow top here.
Oh, comfortable.
We have more to choose from down here.
Oh.
I think I have the perfect one over here for you.
I guess we'll take this one.
You'll find it at Save Mart. Full service at a low, low price.
Hey, this is Mike, Mad Dog McNaughty, and everybody is entitled to my opinion. Now, here's a poser for you. So Donald Trump runs against Hillary in 2016 and he wins. Now, evidently, that election was fair and there have been no voting shenanigans. But when Trump loses in 2020, suddenly the methods and other voting skullduggery was so egregious that the big lie that the election had been stolen from Trump was not only spouted but incredibly believed by 60% of those in this country who identify as evangelical Christians. But then Trump wins in 2024, and suddenly The election process is honest and free from any malfeasance. Well, isn't that amazing? So what's the question? Did some sort of miracle occur? Or is our bully-in-chief just spouting lies his supporters are fully willing to support even in the face of reality? Well, God. This is Mike Mad Dog McNaughty, and that's my opinion.
Hi, I'm Megan. I'm the behavior consultant for Wenatchee Valley Humane Society, and this is Zarza. Zarza is a about 4-year-old, we're kind of guessing, shepherd mix. She was a stray when she first came into the shelter with us. She came in at the beginning of July, so she's been here for a couple of months. And she is a really sweet girl. Zarza is a pretty active girl. She likes to play with toys. She loves to do treat training, obviously really loves hot dogs and cheese, but most especially, she really loves people. So Zarza has been going to playgroup. She likes other dogs who are polite players. She has had some encounters with more rowdy dogs that she has not really enjoyed for all that she is energetic. She actually really enjoys some of our more nervous dogs and just likes to coexist with them, kind of walk around the yard together. So she might do really well in a home with a older dog, senior dogs, or dogs that might want to coexist, not necessarily be a rough and rowdy player, but dogs that want to hang out on the couch or go on walks together and hang out with their people most of all. And she does know how to sit. She knows how to lay down. She obviously knows how to, Zarza, shake, shake, good girl. Shake, other paw, good girl, yeah. And we have been teaching her some basics of leash walking. She does walk on a harness, so that helps with the leash walking because she is a large breed dog. If you want to come down to the shelter and meet Zarza and see if she would fit in with your home, we are open by appointment only on Wednesdays, and then we are open from 12:30 to 6 every other day of the week. So come on down to Wenatchee Humane Society and see if you want to take a Zarza home.
Give them a call at 509-662-9577 or visit their website at wenatcheehumane.org.
Due to circumstances beyond my control, Nick isn't here, so instead, here is the press conference in its entirety on the Travis Decker case right now. Oh, we don't quite have that ready yet. Of course, as you know by now, Travis Decker confirmed dead via DNA from the Washington State Patrol Crime Lab. The Chelan County Coroner, Wayne Harris, will do his best to determine the actual cause of death and the time of death. That might be a little more difficult because the remains had been decomposing for quite some time. And as soon as I get word from my producer that that press conference, which we aired live on our Facebook page, is ready to go, we'll play that for you here in just a couple minutes. But at least there is now closure for the Decker family, for Whitney. They can move forward. And if you forgot or didn't know off the top of your head, they have established a scholarship in the name of the 3 Decker girls. It is being administered by the Community Foundation of North Central Washington. It's geared towards kids who like soccer, because that's what the girls like to play, and dancing, because the girls like to dance as well. So if you want to contribute to that scholarship fund, you can do so by going to the Community Foundation's website. Here is that press conference.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. Chelan County Sheriff Mike Morrison. Again, I want to thank everyone for coming here. We're coming full circle. We're looking about 4 months ago. We were just sitting here breaking the news about this tragic situation of the deaths of Peyton, Evelyn, and Olivia. And today I stand before you again with news that we have received our DNA results back from the Washington State Patrol's Crime Lab from the items that were recovered last week. That would be the clothing and also the human remains. We are glad to say that those remains do come back as a positive match for Travis Decker. It's a big day for Chelan County Sheriff's Office, all of our federal partners, that we can finally bring a close to this dark chapter of Chelan County. Certainly pay respects to the deaths of Peyton, Evelyn, and Olivia. We wanted to show honor to them, let them know that we never forgot about them. We haven't forgot about their family. To Whitney, we apologize that it's taken this long to get the closeness and the closure that we are looking for in this case, but I hope that you can rest easier at night knowing that Travis is accounted for. He is deceased. Our DNA results confirm that, and this will bring a close to our case. I want to thank our detectives, our investigative unit, for the amount of time, effort, and just overall sacrifice that they put in. They never relented on this case. They remained focused, and they made sure that, number one, justice was served, and most importantly, the law prevailed in this situation. We appreciate all of our federal partners, the FBI, the U.S. Forest Service, the U.S. Marshal Service, who will come up and talk after me, and then we'll take questions after that. We also had our partners of the Criminal Investigation Division, Border Patrol with their BORAT team, and also their BORSTAR team. We couldn't have done this by ourselves. We're a medium-sized agency, as I've said throughout this process. We appreciate our federal partners standing up alongside of us, assisting us. We appreciate the Washington State Patrol. Specifically, I'd like to give thanks to operational psychologist Stacy Gutchett and her work and her forensics analysis of Mr. Decker that assisted us in our fourth search, pointed us in the direction of Grindstone Mountain, an area of interest that we wanted to search, and her insight and guidance led us to an important area to search where we did eventually locate Mr. Decker. Again, we couldn't have done this by ourselves. I want to thank the King County Sheriff's Office, the Snohomish County Sheriff's Office, the Spokane County Sheriff's Office for also coming alongside of us, allocating their air assets to us. We could not have done it by ourselves if we had not had the rappelling capabilities that we had from the helicopters. Again, we would have struggled. They would have taken months longer, and we're thankful for that. But most importantly, to our community, thank you. Thank you for supporting us, being patient. We wanted this wrapped up within the first couple days. We knew it took months. We knew that you sat on edge as we were also stressed out about this situation. But again, you never wavered your support from us. We're grateful for that. We haven't forgot it, and we hope that you can also rest easy at night knowing that Mr. Decker is accounted for. Unfortunately, he's deceased. To his family, my condolences to you. I understand this could be your brother, your son, your family member. We never wanted any harm to come to him, but unfortunately the circumstances are what they are. He succumbed to whatever injuries those were. We're going to hear back from our coroner's office, the medical examiner, if they're able to get a cause of death or a time of death. But we appreciate them also working with us, working closely with us, and also being respectful of those remains as we found them. We will hand them back over to his family when the time's appropriate. But we just thank everyone that has come alongside the Chelan County Sheriff's Office, the media, who has also been here assisting us as we've kept Mr. Decker's face out there in public. I know at times a lot of the citizens, not only here in Washington State, but nationally, were wondering when are we going to get closure to this case. Again, we needed the media to do this. We needed them to keep their face out there so we could have Travis, if he was out beyond our borders, at least under some pressure. But again, fate had what it was. We were able to locate him, and again, we appreciate it. I'm going to let the U.S. Marshal Service also present. They've been alongside us from day one. We appreciate that partnership, the resources, the finances they put into this. We couldn't have done it without them. Same with the FBI, but the Marshal Service really took on a heavy burden for us, overseeing the search efforts, while our detective investigative units went and focused primarily on the investigation, knowing that we were getting ready for a criminal trial. This was a triple homicide. We never lost sight of that. This was also a kidnapping. We never lost sight of that. Before I conclude, though, I also want to make sure that I pay thanks specifically to the Wenatchee Police Department, Detective Hewitt. If it had not been for his tireless effort, the days coming up to Monday when we jumped into this investigation, we would have had 2,900 square miles that we've had to search without any real guidance. His efforts, the Wenatchee Police Department, their investigative unit, certainly gave us a leg up to be able to track them down, get to the site quickly. We thank Deputy Mike McLeod for his quick work in finding that campsite. But again, not only nationally with our federal partners, state partners, but regionally, we had help with the Douglas County Sheriff's Office, East Wenatchee Police Department, Wenatchee Police Department. But specifically, I wanted to make sure Detective Hewitt was recognized for his efforts, his work. He certainly gave us everything we needed to jump into this investigation and get there quickly. And they continued to stay beside us, talking with Whitney and the family, making sure that they were talking with them as we were focusing on the investigation. So I just want to make sure I said thank you to them as well. I'll let the Marshal's Office speak, and then after that, we'll take any questions you have. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff. Jerome Brown with the Marshal Service. I'm based out of Spokane, Washington. I'm the supervisor for the task force. The first time I spoke before this podium, I promised you that we would not stop until we found the fugitive. My job and my team's job is to find the fugitives using the Rapid Advancing Manhunt program, which we did, along with the help from the partners that was mentioned from the sheriff already. There's numerous to mention. I'm not going to go over the list again, but without the community, which is what this truly is about, law enforcement community, family community, community members that are out here present. Without all of you, we could not have done this. This is a team, truly team, family endeavor. That's why this was successful. So remember that when you go home, that we were supported with food, roofs, things when we needed them to accomplish our mission as a law enforcement community. You helped us and supported us in that endeavor. That's why we are successful. So, again, thank you to everybody, and I'll go into questions unless Sheriff has something else.
No, we'll open up the questions.
Are you able to talk a little bit, if at all, I know it's very early, about how he died or when he died?
We're going to leave it up to the coroner's office. Coroner Harris has already confirmed that they're doing the best they can with their medical partners to determine if they can determine a cause of death and also how long he had been deceased when he was out there. Again, we understand that process takes time. We did not get full remains. We have gotten majority of the remains back. But again, that's a process, and we're hoping that they are able to determine that because we know that's something the community wanted to know. But as of now, we don't have those answers.
Sheriff, were there any clues to try to figure out whether he had been on the run all this time or if he went straight to Grindstone Mountain?
Based off the information we have, it appears that the potential of him going directly up Grindstone Mountain shortly after the event or within that day would be pretty consistent. But again, we'll look at the time frame once we hear back from the coroner's office, and hopefully we can get a clearer picture on what was the cause of death. Again, if it was anything outside of what would be an explainable cause of death and it wasn't at Mr. Decker's own decision by his own hand, we would investigate that as a separate homicide. Again, we will pay respects to him. We'll honor his family as well. But we'll wait to hear what the coroner's office and the medical examiner has to say.
Sheriff, how were you able to circle in on this one specific tiny area that actually find the body?
So this was our fourth search. It was a planned search. We appreciate the U.S. Marshals overseeing that, taking it on. The FBI had done our third one after that. This was the area that we had been speaking with the Washington State Patrol and their operational psychologist, who I mentioned before. That would be Stacy Chuckett. Really appreciate her insight. So we did get forensics analysis when it came back from the U.S. Marshals Service, the FBI, with their forensic psychologist, and of course the Washington State Patrol. And she had highlighted an area of interest that was on Grindstone Mountain. She even guesstimated about what elevation we were looking at. We really appreciate her insight. She brought certainly a different perspective than we had received from the FBI or the Marshals Service. But again, we were taking information as we could throughout this investigation. It was rapidly evolving. I think we utilized our resources as best as possible. And the last iteration, Washington State Patrol coming in with this contracted operational psychologist, certainly gave us a different area to look at, but it was always something that we were going to check next as our search area continued to expand out.
Sheriff, what were kind of the clues that led to that area being, as you mentioned, an area of interest?
It was outside of the three search areas that we had already checked. It was certainly within sight of our original crime scene, and we knew also with the information that had been obtained with the psychologist there from Washington State Patrol that they viewed that would be an area that they might have singled out, or Mr. Decker might have viewed out as an area that he would have headed.
Sheriff, I saw that there was a tip line. How many people submitted to that tip line? Is it rumors or any other leads kind of prolonged like the lead, or was that difficult in that?
So certainly we were running our tip line. We really appreciate the FBI coming in and overseeing that over the first couple of days of the operation. You're going to thousands of tips coming in, and then of course it slowly dwindled down. But you're hearing leads that everyone was telling us, you've missed it, he's already in Canada, he's in Mexico. Clearly we have the Marshal Service. They have relationships as well with international partners. We did have international partners in Mexico and Canada following up on leads, along with nationally here. We had viewings in Montana, Idaho, Texas. So again, we appreciate our national resources that we had. Also, we had local resources in different states that were willing to step up, assist us, track down leads. Again, we couldn't have done this by ourselves, but certainly we weren't overlooking any tip that came in, any bit of advice that we had. But it certainly strained our resources that we did have, but we primarily kept our focus here with our investigators, and eventually we got the results we were looking for.
Sheriff, can you tell us just how
Whitney and kind of walk us through how the family is coping at this time because this has been a tragedy that's devastated the entire community?
Yeah, so I have been in touch with Whitney. We've certainly tried to respect her privacy throughout this process. We know that she's grieving, the family's grieving. We've told her that we will share information that she feels appropriate. We had a general idea. I'd like to thank Captain Chance with Wenatchee Police Department. He really was the point of contact primarily with the family. But when we did have press releases that came out that I felt would be more shocking to the conscience, we did try to communicate that with her so she wasn't taken back by it. But we understand no matter what, this is not going to bring Peyton, Evelyn, and Olivia back. If anything, we just hope that maybe she would sleep better at night. She wouldn't be looking over her shoulder. But we understand nothing we can do is going to reverse this travesty and bring her daughters back, which we feel for that, but we certainly have done everything we can to be supportive of her and respect her privacy and keep her informed when she needed to be.
Sheriff, can you tell us just how it feels for you personally and for your department to finally have this day come?
My focus is more back on my agency. I understand that a lot of our deputies have taken a huge toll when they're sitting there on the crime scene for hours on end. Our detectives are having to read through these reports to find details of the case that no officer in his law enforcement career should really have to read through. So I certainly am focusing on them, making sure that they have the support they need with psychologists, critical incident stress management, peer supporters. We've done everything we can to make sure we're supporting them on that front. I would say personally that I certainly view it as a win for our community that we can close this. This has been a very dark chapter. You're looking at one of the largest manhunts in Chelan County history, one of the most horrific crimes we've seen in Chelan County, and we're glad to put it behind us. Personally, I certainly just feel for the family. I couldn't imagine that as a father to lose any of my kids, especially all three. And I hope that we never see anything like this in Chelan County again. But personally, I'm just glad to see it's closing out and we're putting it behind it. And number one, above all, that we found Mr. Decker, he's accounted for, and that we can say that threat to our community is confirmed, no longer a threat.
Is this case officially closed in Chelan County now?
We will go through the final processes of closing out the case. We know that our detectives still have some things to wrap up. We still consider this to be a criminal case. We're making sure that we've documented all of our evidence, that we've completed all of our reports, and that we've done what we need to do to process the evidence we have. We do not believe there are any other suspects, anything else we need to follow up on, but we want to make sure it's closed properly.
Sheriff, do you think you've gotten any closer, or will you ever get close to a reason why Mr. Decker might have done this?
No, I don't think we'll ever have a true reason. I don't think it really matters what his reasoning was. In our view, and based off the evidence we have, he committed murder. It's inexcusable, it's inexplainable, and we would have liked to have, of course, heard his thought process and what he was thinking at the time, but I don't think anything he said would have justified it. The bottom line is our community is now down 3 young girls that would have been our bright future. They're not here. I know several members of our agencies had their kids interacting with them on sporting events and other personal events, so it's a loss for us personally too. We recognize that those girls are gone for their family. They're not going to be able to enjoy birthdays, other memories, first dances, first sporting events, even first jobs. So I certainly feel for them. I understand that is a huge loss, and I certainly will be sending my prayers towards them, hoping that they can find some kind of closure on this.
Can you speak to the state of the remains? We touched on this a little bit last week, but did the crime lab give any indication about why it may have been particularly difficult to test any of the samples? Was it because of the state of the remains, or?
No, I would say the biggest challenge to the results was me, personally. I requested more than they're used to. I appreciate Chief Batiste and his team being flexible and willing to adjust. I did not want to take any chance of just coming back with samples from the clothing. I wanted samples from the remains that were also located there. I know this was an unusual request for the State Patrol. I appreciate them humoring me on this, but we also want to make sure we shut down conspiracy theories. Mr. Decker did not bring anyone else up there and leave the remains behind. This is Mr. Decker's remains. The clothing matches, the remains match. That is the end of the conversation. This is why we asked them to take their time, test more samples. And again, I have to follow the lead that our detectives did. They have been thorough, by the book, and have not rushed any process through this. So when we're making this request to the Washington State Patrol, I understand that it took more time, but I certainly have to follow our investigators' leads and say, go the extra mile, don't rush this investigation and make sure it's closed out properly. I think we did that. Though it was frustrating to our community, I understand that, and to others, the Sheriff's Office did exactly what it was supposed to do.
Is there any specific...
That was, of course, the main story for the last 120 days or so. Now the main local story is the fires that really took off yesterday with that dry cold front that blew in just as predicted from the northwest to the southeast. You all saw it, both the Lower Sugarloaf fire and the Labor Mountain fire. Air quality right now is not good in Cashmere. It's 197. That's bumping up against very unhealthy. It's also pretty dirty air in George. Here in the Wenatchee Valley, we're only at 55. There's 2 pieces of good news. Obviously, the skies have been cleared out. We have breathable air, and with the clearer skies, that means they can attack these fires from the air, which they weren't able to do earlier in the week because you can't drop water where you can't see where anything is. So hopefully we're out of the woods. From the National Weather Service, here you go. Could still see some haze because there's a flat ridge of high pressure that's going to set up as this cold front exits. It's leaving right now as we speak. By the time we get to late morning, it'll be fairly sunny, but it could get smoky again. We can't rule it out. High today of about 73, and because we'll be under the influence of a ridge of high pressure, we could very well see a pretty smoky weekend. Have a good and safe weekend. We'll see you Monday. Take care. Bye-bye.